You know what? There's just way too many videos of Zoom calls to do these for. So basically, I'm just going to put this one before all of them. What you're about to watch are part of the leaders that were going to run Paramount Pictures, a new generation, lean and mean, and basically the people that were needed to build a new studio system. But corporate greed and legacy wealth and maybe political presidential interference took all of that away. So most of the people on all these Zooms introduce themselves. For those that don't, well, you could just Google their names because they're all leaders in the worlds that they come from. My name is William Potter Clevinger. I did this with family, hundreds of them, and I will never stop, ever, until we are seen and heard.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey
Hi.
there. Here we
Nice
have
to meet you, Bruce. Hello. Hi, Steve.
Yeah, here I am on video now. I'm on video.
Hello.
Good
It's
to see you.
Good to meet you both.
Yeah.
I'm recording this for your purposes,
Good
so I
idea.
can send you. And I've got a whole lot of other recordings and a year's worth of stuff, and it turns out actually a whole lot longer than that because the creator of the world we live in literally had to keep me consciously asleep in order to do and go down the paths that I walked over the last 19 years in my film career. See, like you both, I'm a, I mean, we're public figures, right? You can look us up. There's work there to where when you meet people or the everyday person, just with pulling up Google, you can see that what I'm saying, I have no reason to make any of it up. And you know, I first like felt called to God, the creator, whatever anybody wants to call it, when I was in film school in Florida. I don't mean to dive in. This is authentic. I don't plan any of this. There's no script. I've gotten to where my brain's an operating system. I don't even really use a computer anymore other than to look stuff up here and there. And even that's kind of a connective thing. But I mean, guys, I found your book. And just so you know, I have not read this. I've looked through it. I've read excerpts. I've read pieces. So understand what I'm saying, and what I'm about to share with you is walking in total never-ending path and purpose, fully relinquishing free will, and the aspect of my phone being the video game controller, to where I felt like there's a controller attached to me, and how I'm walking literally, and I'm sharing stuff with you. I know you guys are authors, you get it, you're men of science. For the record, right, I'm not religious. I've barely read the Bible outside of when I went to St. John Lutheran School, and we had some Bible study here and there. So this is not me practicing or preaching God in any manner. I got baptized last January 21st at Alondra Church of Christ in Compton, where I attend church. My whole career and my life was shaped by whoever put us on this planet that's called Earth, to unite people together in a manner that I didn't even see was happening as my career was being shaped and I was walking in all this. And so there was a period of, for the last 12, 13 months, I've had, and I even lived next to one for 4 years, these random, like in front of house libraries, right? To where people fill them with books. And my final stop here, where I'm at now in Marina Del Rey, really back close to Venice, where, by the way, there's a 98-page overview I'm going to send you both to read, because essentially and I jump around, but I always circle back. And I know I start with something to finish it, so bear with me. What me and all of my friends, some new acquaintances, some lifelong friends, childhood friends, my family, other families, this is connected literally directly to not only Trump and Obama and Biden and Elon and Kanye, but others. I mean, I can't explain it. Things where I've seen events happen in real life, and I'm like, well, that seems a little bit alien like the repetitive patterns and how crazy it is. And I, I it's nuts in the aspect of, there's been points where we've all been like, man, who's going to be able to tell this story to where they can understand not only from a evolution standpoint of what's happening, because this directly changes not only the entertainment industry, but the music industry, the educational system, um, sports ownership. So we've built something. My friends and I, this past summer, I believed, based on what I had been led to conceive and build through deciding to start working with the youth in sports and being led to the Easter family, the person that introduced me to Jerry Easter Sr., who I formed Big Picture World with, Big Picture Collective back then, is the person that baptized me. And that man that baptized me, also at the time, back when he was running for president against Trump and Biden, baptized the CEO of the PAC behind RFK Jr., the same RFK Jr. where RZA, who directed my movie Cutthroat City, is named after RFK Jr.'s dad. Robert Fitzgerald Diggs from the Wu-Tang Clan, his mom idolized RFK and JFK. I mean, just so you guys know who my partners are, my producing partner, David Womark, is Oscar nominated for producing the movie Life of Pi, Best Picture. My other mentor and partner, Larry Franco, who sat down with me and Will Crossley, the president and CEO of Pineywood School in Mississippi, where we're building a movie studio. Because on April 22nd of last year, after I got baptized, Larry and I sat down and all that happened. His brother in law is Kurt Russell, right? His son is Matt Franco, who played for the Atlanta Braves. That's connected to Ted Turner. And then there's Lenny Daniels, who's the former president of TBS and Turner Sports and basically created the NBA on TNT. I knew I was supposed to contact him and he would start talking to us about everything. And then it would lead to something. And he brought me the Shack College of Sports and Media to build in Atlanta. I mean, guys, Steve, thank you both for being so receptive. I know I'm fire hosing a lot of stuff, but you see, I was led to both of you to write basically what this all is. And it is your book. And I already know that just from pieces of this that I read, and specifically the back, because I rounded up the collective group of individuals to tend to the entertainment industry garden and created a new one to where how streaming cut the cord from cable. Well, me and my friends, and apparently, I'm sorry, I have been through so much down to bullets being shot at my actual fucking head. That's part of Vegas court records that you can get. And the person that shot the bullet at me, well, you see, through him and his wife, I met the head of our streaming business, the now head of my fucking video game company, and literally the guy that oversees all of our visas for working with international talent, who's brought in 115 people, Christopher Montgomery, who's a strong conservative. You see, I've united the left, the right, red and blue, all the above. It's insane. And as I was walking through, like I have billions of dollars behind me. I should have started with saying that. That's in that Piney Woods article. Lee Kaplan, who helped start Penske Media Group for Jay Penske, Lee Kaplan, the educator, all this philanthropist. Lee led me to the money when I drove cross country to meet him because he was working with the writer of Cutthroat City, my movie, Paul Cucciari, and they were working on getting the rights secured to do an anthology TV series of Pulp Fiction. And because of what I had done with my movie, I'm like, man, I want to make that. And I had met so many people in a collective period of months, the beginning of last year, that were all over the United States. One of my business partners is Rocco Nugent. His dad's Ted Nugent, right? So, like, these are the generational legacies. We're basically all custodians of legacy. And I've been given everything from the Jackson 5 IP. And I've got to be careful about how that's framed, but that's real down to MJ's fine art collection, the opportunity to produce Passion of the Christ, the Resurrection with Mel. I've been producing the McQueen biopic for 12 years. We're in the middle of buying the Canyon Country store. It's an entirely collective ecosystem in education, entertainment, hospitality, philanthropy, and pro sports ownership, all connected to branding and global figures. And I'm connected through the legacies of global icons. So, like my two business partners on the East Coast, Rasta Phil and Scott Ross, are Mark Wahlberg's lifelong friends. One started the Funky Bunch, the other led Mark to God and literally like ran the streets of Boston with him when they were kids. And then over here on the West Coast, it's Robert Downey Jr. through Robert Russler, who starred with him in Weird Science back when I was born, right? And then Brad Bowes, who's my head of health and wellness, along with Venice Beach legend Robbie Robinson, who we're making the biopic on his life. And he was a bodybuilder brought out here by the same guy that brought Arnold out here, who's part of Robbie's story. And so Busted Health and Wellness is my health and wellness company, and it's all connected to entertainment. And then that generational basketball talent that I started this whole thing with 4 years ago. Next year, well, he's USC starting freshman point guard. He's one of the best players now in the country. And his dad is my partner, and his dad ran Mike Tyson's record company back in the 90s because his best friend, Jim Jackson, was a basketball superstar. Bruce, Steve, I don't know what the hell God chose to do with my life in this crazy brain of mine, all the connective tissue, but I am an author's dream as it relates to telling a generational, one of a kind story because we've defunded and decentralized the entire entertainment industry moving forward. And it's all connected to my hometown. A newspaper article written in my hometown paper back on March 9th, 2007. I shot my first movie that the Weinsteins bought, Bob and Harvey, back when I was 19 years old. And then they got canceled when Cutthroat City was getting made. And by them getting canceled, it canceled an agent that then led to other cast members that were connected now forever into this. It's a crazy thing with legacy and being custodians of the entertainment industry and creation, which is the ultimate thing from God, right? I saw a video with Dennis Hopper this morning talking about, if you don't let a creator create, they will die, right? Like, for 19 years, I was suppressed because I had to go through a path that consisted of walking the dark side of hedonistic lifestyles and other things. I mean, there's a woman connected into this that at least a dozen people who she had relationships with sexually led to major pieces of this being connected together. In my life, I literally was around openly because they were amazing human beings, and it wasn't something to where I seek these people out, people that worked in the world of sex work and other things, right? And then I randomly became president of a pack behind RFK this summer. And I know I'm giving you segmented pieces, but what's coming first and foremost, I'm directing the sequel to the movie They Live. My mentor, Larry Franco, produced it. I would like both of you to be part of the writer's room on that because I'm going Marvel style and it's a massive IP universe. We're going to fund it. Malka Equities, who backed this crazy vision I'm going to send you that when I pursued buying Paramount, that's how I did all this. I'm the person that connected together the ownership group, the rival one, that led a $13.5 billion bid called Project Rise Partners, made up by Moses Gross and Daphne Ziman to buy Paramount Global away from Larry and David Ellison. And it's me. I drove cross country. Lee Kaplan, the night I met him, his partner Aaron McIntosh was there. And Aaron's longtime friend of about 20 years was Cyrus C.J. O'Connor of Malka Investment Trust. I mean, I met with Brock Pierce the night that Bronfman sent his bid in. I've got all the receipts of all this, guys. I keep track of everything, and I recorded videos to myself of the journey of the camera. I've been trying to document this the whole time because I mean, I'm running an entity that we're all collectively managing now. And Robert Russler, who was in Weird Science, his sister-in-law is Stacy Snyder, who was running a studio until Disney bought it called Fox. And I mean, I have led forward something and found all the puzzle pieces down to leaving voicemails about a person being a puzzle piece and looking down and there being a puzzle piece on the ground in front of my feet. I know how everything in the world connects together. I've seen the Fibonacci design of literally the tree of life of time of all this, things that I have no conceptual clue of from a science standpoint because I have no knowledge in those spaces. That when I talk to people that have studied theology and other things, they're like, dude, it's insane the stuff that you're talking to me with limited knowledge of the Bible and other things. I mean, I had an experience that was so profound that, I mean, I've got to share it with you in person and us sitting down, but I'm going to New York the first week of March to sit down with CJ and Malka to literally cash flow and structure what is a three-stage takeover. Literally the plot of They Live, by the way, mind you, them storming the station of the entire media industry privately, with the funding that Malka has, because I connected an entire vision that I received downloads for to building a basically decentralized autonomous film studio grid on one strip of property in Venice Beach that literally removes the corporate structure of Hollywood forever because of the ecosystem of artists that I've connected together that have won Emmys, Grammys, Oscars, and Tonys, and at the highest of levels. And it's a foundation with a school that's older than most of us on this earth as human beings, Piney Woods. And like Will Crossley, who runs that place, he was the chief counsel for the Democratic National Committee when Barack was in the White House, right? And so I know you guys, I'm very aware of your career. Steve, I've loved your videos, man, forever, brother. Like the Swami coming up. I did not seek either of you out. I was truthfully walking around taking pictures for my vision board and tone book I'm putting together for the sequel to They Live, that I have an upcoming beanie being set with The Rock and his company, okay? Elon, I produced a movie that starred his wife, Tallulah Riley, who, by the way, same library across the street. I just found Elon's bio, and the photos in here are of him and Tallulah. And then there was a fucking DVD for the control room. Okay. Like, I put the puzzle pieces, man, together of the whole big thing to where you read the books about it takes one collectively. I actually did it, Stephen Bruce. I swear on my life and my legacy, and I have no idea how I did it. I walked in it, man, to where I was literally homeless and attacked and all kinds of other stuff. And I wasn't homeless because I was doing it on purpose. I was in path and purpose. And I don't mean to get emotional. I finally got crying in check fully. This has taken everything in me in a pattern to where I've been shown, because I've been able to reflect on two things I loved most of my life, my ex-fiance and my mom, and having a viewpoint of being able to look at them when I've been celibate, clear, sober, everything, what I had to walk in and get to in my life, and understanding what I was praying for. I used to pray for a platform bigger than Tim Tebow and Tyler Perry combined. Now they're both involved in this and aspects of relationships and other things. And it's insane. And the person that picked up the phone the day that I wanted to take my life lived next door to Tim in college, Phil Powell, who lives back in my hometown. But basically, what this whole thing is, and I now have to finish this vision overview that goes with the 90 pages I'm going to send both of you to research and educate yourselves on, is basically going to be structured by my financiers who are based in New York. So I'm finishing with my chief of marketing, Drew, who CC'd on the email with us.
Mhm.
And he ran music festivals for 17 years. I have to go to New York to finish basically the structure of all this, to on our platform, connecttoyourcity.com. See, these things already all exist that we've put in ecosystem. So there's Rainbow, the social media app side, there's Connect to Your City, the already 200 plus channel streaming side. It's a whole connective tissue, like octopus arm, of just like grabbing it all at once and shutting it all down and creating something new. And so that all launches on Easter weekend, which I produced a movie, Grow House, before Cutthroat City. It's hilarious, which premiered on 420. So this Easter weekend happens to be on 420.
420. Yeah. Wow.
Right. And I'm connected to Blake Wynn, Steve Wynn's son, and he throws the celebrity poker tournament and broadcasts the whole thing. So I'm going to do a charitable, basically, telethon. I brought in Bill Boyd Jr., who worked with Jerry Lewis for almost 20 years, and Dick Clark. We're going to do a 24-hour telethon that I already announced back in November before the fires happened and destroyed some of my partners' homes. And then there was a fire that started, it burned down someone's house that was connected to this the week before I got baptized. This all started the week before I made the decision to get baptized. And even the lead up to that, and the way that all that happened, it's just wild. Like the only way to probably do this is to like sit down with me. I mean, I'm about to have crazy funding. I want you guys to please be a part of what I'm doing. Um, and this is it's I'm so grateful and relieved that it's finally almost to the place of not what it's been, because it's been so much. I'm sorry. It's all connected to my hometown. And I have a text message from my uncle the last time I spoke to him telling me I was insane and I should just do what I was good at, that I can't beat Larry and David Ellison. See, I have all the receipts, man, from all the dark side of this because of my brain and the way I'm a filmmaker, right? I've always taken photographs and I didn't know I got consciously suppressed to direct when I met Stephen C. Miller in film school, who directed that movie that we sold to the Weinsteins. And then I just started getting behind filmmakers and I made a lot of people's dreams come true, but never actually mine. And through that, I made the most insane relationships and cast relationships from to where I've done movies and I've been connected to everyone from Jenna Ortega to Sydney Sweeney to Glenn Powell. He was discovered by my partner, Joey, who now manages me. I'm in talks with David Saunders, the head of IAG, 50's agent, who's ran the agency that reps John Carpenter. By the way, I reunited John and Larry after 39 years. The last movie they made together was They Live. There's a scene in They Live that talks about by the year 2025. Go back and watch it. It's the Alien Convention when it's insane, guys. So I want you two to head up with my brother Matt Portnoy, who wrote a blacklist script about Larry Hillblom, who started DHL, that The Rock was attached to for years. And then Larry Franco produced the reshoots of Jungle Cruise. And then The Rock's remaking Larry's movie, Big Trouble in Little China. And so years ago with Russell Geiser, who just, by the way, released the Apprentice movie, right, on Trump. He paid for all the P&A. Russell was my funding 12 years ago when I tried to fund that movie that was going to star The Rock, written by my friend Matt Portnoy, and they would not talk to us in the room. They didn't know Russell, they didn't know me. And the first thing Russell funded was stealing cars for Rachel Winter, that my now partner Sean, who made Cutthroat City with me, was on back then, and Wahlberg was an EP on that too. So like my whole life is literally connected to Mark, down to being on set of Transformers when I was selling that first movie, The Weinsteins. And David Womark, my mentor and partner, produced Deepwater Horizon, right? And his best friend is Lorenzo. They bought a Ventura. So like, I mean, guys, it's insane. I'm not name dropping. I'm sharing with you how I've been able to consciously receive the full download of disconnecting from the normal operating system that like everybody's born into with this. I have no idea what has been planned for like literally the next, let's even call it fucking 2 months of my life, much less several years. But if being able to reflect and look back now on exactly what all this has been, and if you study the work and see what I've made, the last two movies were political statements. And I didn't even know it. One was about Hurricane Katrina and suppression. The other was a parody on the weapons manufacturing industry, and they're huge casts. Zach Levi before he was Shazam, freaking my boy Karan Sony, who stars in Deadpool with Ryan, and then Reynolds, my friend Adam Stone, who helped me when my life bottomed out before my ex fiance left me in New Mexico years back, right before COVID, right before Cutthroat City reopened theaters and then debuted at number one on Netflix. I mean, my life's insane. I didn't ask for this. I just wanted to come to LA and make movies. I had no idea who I would ever go and talk to from an author standpoint because I know what God has written with this entire thing. Most people run so far away from religion, right? That's why we got so many problems in the world, and the word God has been weaponized so much. And I feel like me and all of my friends and what this is because it's connected to so many generations of the business across all fronts. It's absolutely insane when I share with you and we get like deep on everything, right? How this all connects together. It's nuts. down to the legacies of Jim Morrison, Michael Jackson, all these individuals. It's the art, it's the creation. And I feel like when something's written into creation, right, it connects an energy to, I feel like, what is the consciousness of what you hear about one love, the tree of life, the foundation cornerstone of earth. And, I've been playing with the word evolution because I've been staring at this book so much. And, Canyon Country Store. It's where Jim Morrison wrote Love Street, where the creatures meet, right? And then La Paz, where I have this land in Mexico to bring pro sports to. Well, La Paz means peace. It's peace and love. So it's disrupting the matrix through peace and love. And one thing that aligns the entire world together that nobody fights over, they debate over what's better, is entertainment, music, sports, food, and wine. So I'm going back to my hometown every Mother's Day at the Name by Time magazine 100 Greatest Places in the World to Visit World Equestrian Center, where John Travolta now lives, by the way, in Ocala, Florida, where I'm from, where Wesley Snipes got arrested, who would then go on to star in my movie. And him getting arrested helped save my mom's life. I cannot explain this, but I can tell you the whole fucking story. And it's all connected. And it's insanity. Guys, it's insane. It's literally for you two. I think the work that you've both done, your collective lives, and what this whole story is, we're all being given pieces in our creative endeavors. I know the work, the level of accomplishment you both have achieved. Like I understand what all of this is, and I did not ask for any of this. I didn't ask to be the person behind any of this. I didn't understand my life for so long because I was just asleep, man. I just lived in it, right? The day-to-day grind of the repeat. Oh man, it's insane. So it's an honor to meet you. Thank you so much for just listening and letting me share all that. Because I've been waiting to talk to whoever was gonna maybe sit down with me and help me get all this out. And whoa.
William, your path is a real path, that there's a world that's unfolding right now, and you've been building up uh, the road to get to this world. That Steve and I have been writing about this. We wrote about this, what, 10 or more years ago. That I'm sorry that the book didn't get to be a big seller. That's just because the publishers didn't do shit to sell it. But Steve and I went on the road. That's how it got sold. Let me tell you the truth here. You are in the midst of an evolutionary upheaval at this moment. That the Trump situation is a necessary foundation to break the structure. The reason is simple. Science has recognized a fact that you can't avoid, and that is this. Today's civilization requires the resources of 1.6 planet Earth just to stay as it is. There's only one planet Earth. Where the hell is the 0.6 coming from? Well, we've been destroying the ecosystem, and we're facing an evolutionary upheaval at this moment. It's not sustainable by any sense of the word. And you cannot build a sustainable civilization on today's foundation, because today's foundation is so corrupt and broken that you can put band-aids on it all you want, but it has got to go down. And interestingly, here's Trump tearing it apart faster than I could ever imagine, but he's doing the most important thing, not in his mind, but in our awareness. He's breaking the system so we can build something new. Now, your work is
I'm sorry. Let me clean myself up. I'm listening. I'm going to turn off camera for 1 second, blow my nose.
Yeah.
Keep talking, Bruce. I'm here. Please. Thank you. This is
So
amazing. I am so grateful for, please, God, this is like, oh, keep going. Don't stop.
So you're playing a major role in an evolutionary upheaval, even though you haven't seen it. It's unfolding in front of your face right now. Everything that's happened to you is no accident. Everything that has happened is part of building who you are in the world that is coming at this moment. Now, I'm the biomedical research scientist, and Steve is the political scientist.
Wow.
I can tell you now a fact, and this is really important because my work is pioneering work in a science called epigenetics. I was there 20 years doing that before science recognized it. Epigenetics is how the mind controls the genetics and the behavior. And it gets rid of the pharmaceutical company, which is why there's a lot of repression on this work.
Can I tell you, can I share, not to interrupt? So my friend Matt Portnoy,
Yeah,
who wrote that script with The Rock,
Yeah.
guys, his dad is Dr. Russell Portnoy. Do you know who that is?
the name sounds familiar, but I can't remember.
He's one of the leading first doctors in the fentanyl crisis in America. And Matt's career and his family's life savings was wiped out because his dad was afraid to go against the pharmaceutical industry for years. And Matt is my brother that I never stopped believing in, that leads the writers' room that's made up with the both of you. Please keep going, Bruce. I just wanted to
Okay.
I'm
say.
familiar with Portnoy. I am. He's one of the, actually, he is one of the whistleblowers, as a matter of fact.
Yep. So that's the young man who wrote the movie that The Rock tried to make for several years. My best friend, the most unproduced writer ever. But he won a Razzie Award for movie 43, which was a bunch of vignettes, but his starred literally Kieran Culkin and Emma Stone, who would go on to win an Oscar. So he's got relationships with them. That's a whole different story. The IP I'm setting on, guys, I'm going to share the library with you. This is insane. Please continue because it's not about that. I am so grateful. I feel like you two are the ultimate oracles because I have been meeting everybody at the tops of fields, right? And I knew where I was walking, what I was walking in, where this was heading. But I am just so relieved to hear the way you're speaking, Bruce, is like where my brain's been. And I'm just so happy that this is it. So please, thank
Well,
you.
if we
Okay,
are if we are the oracles, then you must be the ventricle.
Oh man, dude. I just want to
And
direct movies.
a wholehearted operation.
I
so I
just
just
want to
Need
direct
oracles and
movies.
ventricles.
I
A
just came
wholehearted
back
operation.
from South America, where they're out of the influence of the pharmaceutical industry. And the book that I wrote, Biology Belief, is the foundation of a new course in the medical school, which is called Bioemotion. And the idea about it is get away from the pharmaceuticals. They're controlling, they're poisonous and toxic. 300,000 Americans die every year from prescription drugs, while less than 100,000 die from illegal drugs. But nobody cares because they call that the business of medicine. Well, it's a bullshit business. I was in that field for many years. And the reality is, this evolution is coming and it needs people like you to bring it out into the public because it's being suppressed. And it's being suppressed because the manipulation and control, they know at the top it's failing. They know it's failing. Well, the issue is they want to control it so it doesn't explode. And the bullshit that COVID was bullshit,
Yeah.
the whole thing was bullshit, and this is all going on. Now,
Yeah.
Steve and I work at different levels of the same program, but I want you to know, as you saw, maybe I got this award, the Goy Peace Award in Japan, which is the equivalent of their Nobel Peace Prize, because they saw the understanding of this new biology as personal empowerment. That the movie The Matrix,
Yep.
when I give the lecture, I say, this is not science fiction. This is a documentary.
Literally.
Everybody is programmed in the first
That's all,
7 years.
dude. Wow. And so 7 years ago is when I made Cutthroat City. I was literally 32 going into 33. And then get a load of this. There was one of the culmination periods of that was Shamik Moore, the lead of the movie, his birthday party. We were on this cannabis trip boat yacht in New York. And I walk into this room. Sydney, who at the time we were still together, she sees this guy and she's like, man, he's got that star look in his eyes. We didn't realize we were talking to Yahya Abdul Mateen, who would then go on to play Morpheus in the Matrix reboot, right? After that. So there were all these things that were happening with people and roles and sequences that I felt so connected to. But to think of it in that manner, I'm like, well, that's ego. None of it was.
No, no. So this is all unfolding at this very moment. And the simplicity of this understanding is very critical because this is not bullshit. This is absolute hardcore science that reveals the programming nature. And I always like to add my lecture, there's a red pill. And people go, red pill? I go, yeah. I say, when people fall in love, Their lives change in 24 hours because they stopped playing the program. That's the first time they stopped.
7 years I was engaged.
And that's when you are the creator at that
But
moment.
can I tell you what I didn't share? Because I wanted to wait till you
Yeah.
said. So after I got baptized, and this was when I went on my sober journey, the person I fell in love with brought me a DMT pin. And I did it. And guys, remember, I've been the custodian of Steve McQueen's biopic. You hear how everyone talks about Joe Rogan's story and the Green Goddess story. Well, mine was Steve McQueen. I'm not kidding. This is not insane. I saw it as clear as I'm on this Zoom with the two of you. And he came and he was showing me Rubik's cubes stacking on top. He looked like Charlie Chaplin with the piercing blue eyes. And when I came out of that, it was the most profound experience because I'm not going to share the situation because her private life will forever remain private. But I showed up for Sydney. We always showed up for each other, even though we weren't together. We haven't been together, even though we were still riding each other business. Everyone still thought we were together. It would drive her insane. We haven't been together. And since she left me overnight before COVID, I had to put my life back together, right? And it's even that whole thing we'll talk about later. I'm not going to get into it now. It's not the point. But the point is, I led the full. See, I didn't realize all the level stacking with this, Bruce, and I went on the hero's journey. And what I didn't know that was the start of it, because then after that, after this thing with her, because see, subconsciously, that was my ex. It was the person I loved. So I always had her in that thing to where when I would meet other people that were supposed to be helping me level up in each phase, I was so stuck where I was at with her for 7 years because I just had this firm belief we were supposed to be together. And she was obsessed with Jim Morrison. After we made Cutthroat City, we went to his grave in Paris. Okay. And then I get led to Love Street after I announced this, and I announced Big Picture World Love. Okay. For crying out loud. And the person that I zeroed in on calling it love was the wife of the person that shot a bullet at my head. Like I've connected it all together, all of it, my whole thing. And we could sit down and you both are minutes aside. I cannot wait to just be in a room together and just you two as blah, blah, blah. I have so much I want to get out. But this is a thing and exactly what you talked about. Keep going. The they live of it. Sorry, there's so much. I am bursting at the seams because this is so authentic and real, and none of this is a script. I am the most genuine person you will ever meet as it relates to this business. That's why I've never gotten rich. I've never gotten famous. But apparently, once this all moves forward, as far as the media history goes, and me being the gatekeeper of this and the bearer of it, I understand what this is. And I am so ready for it. I'm ready to get on a stage and try to lead people because so many people are consciously asleep from there being a creator to all of this world that we live in because of how the word God's been weaponized and religion's been weaponized on a global basis.
That is the critical part. Now, I'll let you know because as a research scientist for 40 years of my life, I never believed in spirituality. But the research revealed it to me. I saw it, the mechanism. There's an actual freaking mechanism that connects spirit to the physical body. And all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, we are definitely spiritual entities in a virtual reality suit at this time.
Facts, man. We're all just avatars. We don't get to pick it.
And so before I let Steve take over, I just want you to recognize something very important. Your work is a pathway. Your work has a destination. Your work is timely because it is now in the evolutionary upheaval. This is what's going on at this very minute in our country right now. So you are a valuable instrument at this moment to bring forth some awareness. Knowledge is power, and people have been denied knowledge of who they are. I'm not a fan of religion. I'm as spiritual as anything could ever
Amen.
be. Religion is the business of spirit. And it's quite unfortunate because it has caused all the antagonism for 1,000 years on this planet. Yeah. And the point about it is this: we have to wake up now. We're facing an extinction. That's real. That's not even a joke. That's a reality that's coming fast. If we don't change, then this thing's, you can kiss it goodbye within 20 years. Even NASA scientists have acknowledged that we're facing an irreversible collapse of civilization at this moment. Science.
That's that's literally, you said kiss it goodbye, right? Everyone wants to question like an alien invasion or something else at this point when we're talking about literally revealing UFO files and COVID and pandemics. And who's to say God's not gonna push the alien button? And that leads me to literally the ending that we've conceived for, it's called They Die, the sequel to They Live. After the credits roll, literally in the world is ended. So it's an alien, everyone dies at the end, and this is from the producer 2012. But once the credits roll, a leaf, right after the rainstorm and the ash washes away, a leaf pops up out of the ground, which forms into a tree, and then the apples formed. And when it gets pulled off the tree, it gets knocked out of the hand. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because we have gone so against what the foundation is and what we've been led to believe, man, woman, creation, children, marriage, that is all horse shit.
That's right.
Period.
It's like Steve and I live in a different world.
We have
know
been
that
for
world's
a
there.
while.
It's not
Yeah.
our world anymore because once you have this knowledge, then you become the master of of your life. Without this knowledge, you are the victim of the program.
Yeah, and we're all born into that somehow. Wherever we landed, right, and got here, and the birth and DNA and the way all this works, it is straight up programmed. So that night with the ultimate any of that DMT thing was I picked her up from somewhere and brought her with her dog, mine too at the time, and we were in the house. And out of nowhere, she wanted to watch a McQueen movie. She's like, "What's the one?" We put on Magnificent Seven, and she never said never ever. She's 28. There was always a 12-year difference between us. I didn't see her age when we met. It was a whole thing. See, she taught me self-love. That was the level that took me 7 years. And it took me a long time to understand it. But that night, I rescued her out of a situation. And we went on to watch Magnificent Seven. And then she's like, "No, let's put on Bullet." And I'm like, "Oh, I've never actually seen Bullet start to finish." And as the person, and I know everything of McQueen, I've been working to tell his story for 12 years. We're finally making it, David and I. It's what connected him and I together. How he's my partner now as a filmmaker. 8 billion in box office gross behind me too to direct. It's insane. Thank you, God. But that night we put on Bullet, and there was a sequence of the movie, man, where everything kicked in when I hit this DMT pen. And guys, I wasn't there to trip out. I was sober, okay? So you got to understand what clicked in for the design of time. And I still have the box from the pen. This company doesn't exist. I've tried to find it online. It's nowhere. It says reality's only a breath away. And that's what started this whole hero journey. Because after that, I rescued a girl from a head on car crash at the basically street crossing for what would later on be the office that I worked out of and was led to pursue with the group to buy Paramount. This is insane. And I went on the whole hero journey, which resulted, and that wasn't just her. I didn't realize what was happening. And then that led to the homeless side. So all these elements that I got dropped in and placed in, there were people that I would have connected parts together on unless I had been homeless and other things. And what I mean by that, I wasn't being like, I'm homeless now. No, it was all choices that had to happen that were not my own because I relinquished my free will. So I went with it and I never stopped, all the way down to being led to the both of you. Truly, it's insane.
I'm gonna say one more thing and then turn it to my buddy Steve. But something very profound here, and that is this. The culture we live in has been shaped by Darwinian theory, which is survival competition for survival of the fittest. This is a completely opposite of evolution. This is devolution. Evolution is cooperation. Evolution is coming together in harmony, not competition the way it's described. I'm in the process now of putting a manuscript together for the new theory of evolution because uh, it's real. And I'm so excited because I've been working on it for only 40 years, but it's really,
Wow. And I
uh,
want to add to what you just said, right? You're only as good as your circle. One's individual self can't do this. And if you replace an evolution I in the love backwards, right? Because everything's a mirror and we're all mirrors of each other.
Evil.
It's evil. Yeah, evil. And that means live, right? What's
Yeah.
evil in reverse? Live, right? What's love in
yeah.
reverse? Spells
So
evolve. I like I it's I look at everything in numbers, sequences. I'll give you my phones. You'll see screenshots of angel numbers, but then the pictures that correlate with them and the matrix that I was taking photos in. Okay. I've created the world around me from what's been in my mind. And that's what I mean by this article that was written on me. And so to sum it all up, the three-pronged event, and this is what I want you guys part of and helping me execute too with what I've got on the table. The live streaming They Live style takeover of the airways for 24 hours that night globally is made up of all the IP that I've collected and all the people behind it. And they are all global figures from Wolfgang Puck to Lawrence Taylor, amongst others. Literally. RFK Jr. got his doc, got the one that's been shot the last 7 years on Kanye West as well. Okay. Jay Ivy, who's my partner, the first person I met on my first job ever when he was hanging out because the person he was making a documentary on named Kanye disappeared when he got his first Grammy noms. Jay Ivy, who's won 3 Grammys the last 2 years for Best Spoken Word Poetry Album. My business partner is the best poet in the world. He narrated the doc Genius on Kanye. Randomly in the Canyon Country store, right, where I said I got led to buy with Tommy Bina, who's in that X post I sent you, Steve, with me. Like literally, this kid has been coming in. He introduced himself as a filmmaker 2 months ago. I finally asked him 2 nights ago, "Oh, what are you working on?" He's like, "Oh, it's the doc on Kanye." I'm like, "Wait a minute." I'm like, one, obviously everything that just happened with him getting canceled, things I was talking about that I told you I saw these events that happen. I'm like, well, that's crazy. So yeah, this kid's been producing the doc and it doesn't have a distribution platform. And Jay Ivy, my partner, narrated and made the last one. I mean, this is insane. So the IP that we're about to launch on the platform named after my grandmother, you see that platform launches 4th of July weekend, celebrating the 20th anniversary of when I pursued making movies and made automaton transfusion July 4th, 2005 in Ocala, Florida, where now the World Equestrian Center is. That after I partnered with them and was flying back to go to Rob Reiner's house for a screening of Jake's movie, right? I mean, it's insane. My other business partner, Alex Rose, Danny Motor, his uncle's married to Julia Roberts, right? All this is connected. And if you remember Julia, her hospital bills were paid for by Martin Luther King. Then there's crazy stuff with like the neighbors of the people that live next door to the guy that bought the gun for King or part of this in Nashville. It's this weird smorgasbord of connectivity to where I could give you guys all this information. You could talk to all these people. Like, we're going to be able to put the most insane foundational story together that is going to make people not have to look at the Bible and weaponize that damn thing from a straight up standpoint of connectivity in all of us. It's about taking a legacy from the past and elongating it into the present for a sustainable future. And it's all private. And you see, I got led to the foundational trust from a financial standpoint in Malka that backed everything for Project Rise Partners and Paramount, which, truth be told, Daphne Ziman hijacked my investors, but it's okay because I brought them to the table with lead. That's the thing. Most people would react to these things. I react to nothing anymore. When people are trying to say I'm reacting, people that are reacting, it's me counteracting energies that are around me. So I got to pivot one way or another. And then a lot of people were like, well, where's the money? This was going to happen. That was going to happen. I'm like, how do any of you think I'm in control of time or money? I'm like, everything we're given, everything I'm led to. There was a great sermon in my church about this. I've come to understand that I am a gatekeeper and I will be led to not only a foundation that's going to create a sustainable future that I am supposed to be a custodian of, just like all these movies that we make are from a creation point. That comes from a download somewhere. People aren't just churning this stuff out. So
Yeah.
I don't mean to go on. I mean, Steve, I'm
This is
sorry, Bruce and
this
I.
is really this is really amazing because when Bruce and I we were writing the book, I'd go there to his place. We'd stay overnight, like 2 or 3 days, and it would be just download. I said, "Where is this coming from?" And Bruce would go, it's all download." And so what's really interesting, because I mean there's so many synchronicities that I can't even begin to speak to them. But the one that I will speak to is the book that I've been working on with a really amazing man named Richard Flyer, who has put together communities and networks mainly in Reno, Nevada, but his work is based on the work of Dr. Ariyaratne in Sri Lanka, Sarvodaya, which is a network of 5,000 villages where they started in 1958 with the poorest of the poor. And the slogan was, "We build the road and the road builds us." And so, working with people from the bottom up, they created their own economy, basically, parallel society. So, the book that we're working on is called Birthing the Symbiotic Age, Ancient Blueprint for a New Creation. So this ancient blueprint is what you're talking about. It's based on, it reverberates. His teacher was Dr. Ari. Dr. Ari's teacher was Gandhi. Gandhi was influenced by the Sermon on the Mount. So it's kind of like going all the way back to the Sermon on the Mount, the purest, prior to, Jesus was not a Christian. Prior
Yeah.
to the religion, prior to anything being religiousized about it, was basically love God, love thy neighbor. Really basic story.
And forgiveness, man. That's
Exactly.
literally what it all is. Love and forgiveness is literally the key to unlocking the castle to everything.
Exactly
And
right. Yep.
and that's what it is, down to the person that fired the bullet at me. Like him and his wife, they're gonna have shares in this, even if he goes to jail. Because literally it was all for path and purpose. Guys, Steve Bruce, I watched the creator of the world we live in spiritually possess people to literally provide path and purpose in all of this. I swear to God, in the story. And people have questioned it when I've walked in it. And guess what? As I've come to understand, I haven't been in control of anything for 40 years. So I'm really excited for what the next steps of all this are because I have no more anxiety in my life in any capacity, manner, or means at all. Down to literally every day is about a foundation. It's about, I know I'm going to lay a concrete slab to start the day. And before I go to sleep, there's a roof being put on. Sometimes that roof, lately, I've finally been back to the period of it's getting blessed with the movie before I get to go to sleep because I have been in never ending flow to the point to where I have had what I love most, movies, removed away from me for practically a year. I haven't been able to watch anything, study anything, research. But now I'm getting to the period to where I'm about to be in full creation to finally get to direct films, starting with this whole slate. And you see that all these people that have been on this journey that's been my collective career for 19 years, I see it all now. And all of us on set, like with me in the chair and them around me. And it's been insane from my first AD, Jeff Schiffman, who drove me cross country to make Cutthroat City, right? To David Womark and Larry Franco. I didn't meet them together. I met him individually, just like I met Power from the Wu-Tang Clan in a parking lot during COVID. So I've been led to the connective pieces, and it's the legacies around everybody that makes all of this amazing that I grew up loving with energy in my life. And I always dreamed about owning the Orlando Magic. And now I have been led to connecting an ownership group that will consist of Shaq and Penny together in it, right? And like Meta World Peace is one of my oldest friends in relationships, and he's fully partnered in this with me. And I mean, I'm so blessed and so grateful. One kid dream in life, man, that they get to that point, dude. This is way beyond the grasp of what's called reality. I and
Oh, yeah.
I'm so thankful. I
I mean,
know what's coming.
it sounds like, I mean, I watched that video with all of these people coming up and putting their arm around you and talking about the contribution that you made. And I mean, forget 6 degrees of separation. You're at 1 degree of separation. That's what it felt like.
I
That
think
somehow you're one of those people that you can't help being a hub. And I can see why you're overwhelmed because all of these things are happening simultaneously, and all of these, people and resources are there and available, and it's kind of rounding up the troops and putting it into delivery.
and the both of you were literally, I'm not kidding, I've been saying it's the final meetings. This really is it. It's I was you guys, and you'll see it because this is amazing because we get to connect organically and naturally from me finding the book. But wait until you see most people when I get to finally get on a Zoom, they've read what I got downloads for to write. Dude, wait until you see what this is. I'm so honored and this is amazing. I'm gonna I don't even forget NDAs. We're fine. I'm sending you guys what I created, and then I'll start getting you some of the IP. But not only that, I've led forward so an international film and food festival in my hometown, and an international music festival on Mother's Day weekend, every Mother's Day. So I get to go home and see my mom and bring all of her favorite music acts from all around the world to her. And like my mentor, right, is Robbie Williams' mother-in-law. Like Robbie's career is finally exploding over here now because of the movie. It's all connected, man. From J.I.V. to Robbie, Elton John's part of this. Like, I mean, I can't even. It's insane, and it's all going down. So I gotta Drew Spanding. I told him we would meet tonight. I want both of you to meet Drew. He's been on this journey. He came to a meeting this summer when I was putting the ownership group together to pursue Paramount, and he's been in it ever since. So he saw it all unfold, and he's such a man of faith. His company, Price Slide, that he owns in Detroit. I mean, they already have a valuation. I'm going to keep it private. It's a crazy number. But see, I got led to all these leaders, like both of you in the spaces. I mean, super geniuses, right? And ideas that help run a sustainable foundation in fields that can never be messed with by AI. And that's what all this is: education, entertainment, hospitality, philanthropy, and pro sports ownership. And it's all connected to real estate. And so AI can never touch any of this. And then the IP that I got led forward in, I mean, I've got projects from people involved with Last Temptation of Christ and Passion of the Christ. Okay. Like, I mean, it's the biggest of levels. And I mean, the biggest of connective relationships. And a lot of people go around trying to say, I mean, I have people weaponize me being like, you're name dropping. No, I'm fucking not. These are lifelong legacies of the individuals that are discussed about in this, to where I don't have to even say I'm partners with these people because my friends, partners, and family have grown up with these individuals before they were global people. And so I'm humbled. This has never been about me. I've said that forever. Sydney and I, when we called it Big Picture, we said this isn't about us. It's bigger than us. That's why it was called the Big Picture. Why we were led to call it that.
Yeah.
And then I got this download to call the Big Picture. It's a collective of artists. This is bigger than us. This is family. We are legacy producers. And that's what all this is, man. Legacies. And you're only as good as your legacy. And that legacy needs to be protected. And children's legacy specifically, which is what I was doing this all for. So my intent with this funding is to make, because of the producers I have behind me, 6 movies a year for literally the next 4 years, starting after the Mother's Day festival. I will literally see my mom, listen to some music, and then go into creation mode and wrap it around every year, right? And then have a break for the film festival, but I could do that and come in. I'm gonna create an output, and you can look at my roster of movies. I always did this as a producer back in the day. I could do it as a filmmaker because of who's around me. I want to make 24 movies because Kobe, this whole thing's a big thing with me. It's the number 6'2". I was born 606 on May 6th, 1984. I have a picture of a fire truck where I took it 3 weeks prior. And then I was standing directly in front of it in Westwood when I was putting together the final overview months ago for this. Guys, it was the time I was born in the year on the side of a fire truck. I took a selfie with it. I mean, I have followed the Matrix, okay? And so I want to retire at 44, focus on the NBA ownership side of this. I hope that's what I keep receiving, and educate these kids in Mississippi, man. I want to fly in literally every week, and I want to literally host a class and educate every single freaking student that goes through that school that wants to be part of the entertainment industry side of this. I want to connect with each one of them and have a foundation relationship to where they know me from the time they're a student at Piney Woods until they want to be a professional in this world. Because the gates of Hollywood, I was kept out of for 19 years. And this brain has always existed, but it got suppressed. And a lot of people sucked my soul dry for my relationships and the individuals that I knew. And I've kept receipts, and they all know who they are. And some of them pop back up, and some of them have been worried about what might happen with all this. And they've actually tried to stop it at points. And I've kept going. I block out all the noise around me. I don't listen to anybody. Nobody can mess with me because I'm walking in path and purpose, and the only thing I fear is literally God. And I'll say God without that being weaponized because I understand what it is. A lot of people and people that are in religious spaces around me have no conceptual understanding of what all this is.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing more about that experience. Because right now, a lot of what's going on, one of the reasons why we are where we are is the deplatforming of God in the sense of everything has gotten so materialized that
Mhm.
we forget the foundation and we've drifted so far away from it, that the culture doesn't know itself and people are taking on all of these crazy identities because the fundamental identity is absent. They don't even know it's absent.
Yep.
So in finding it, the way you found it, however you found it, I got that it was a profound, it was an experience. It wasn't something you read about in a
Oh,
book.
no. It's been every day of my life's been a video game since I got baptized, and I didn't even know it was happening. Apparently, it's been a video game for 40 years. And the thing was, it's been such a video game that I had to be suppressed to actually live it. Otherwise, it probably would have made me actually kill myself. That's how intense some of what I walked actually was. If I had had this foundational understanding that I understand now of what I've walked in the last 12 months and where life's gotten to and what I've woken up to, guys, some of the stuff I've been through and walked and witnessed, I mean,
The universe is really very good that way. I mean, my wife and I were kept away from each other for 9 years.
wow.
We met in 1976. We had amazing connection. The universe said, you guys are going to fuck it up. So we're going to wait, and waited until 1985. And we've been together ever since.
Wow. My mom just reunited 50 years later with her version of literally what you just shared with me. They went and saw Love Story starring Ali McGraw, The Love of Steve McQueen's Life,
The
right?
original, the
The
original, right?
original as a date. So one of the first movies I
Oh
ever saw was
God.
Love Story, right? Star 80 was playing when I was born. I'm not kidding. That's connected to
Yeah,
Julia and Eric, and Alex
yeah,
Rose is one of my best friends. All this. And I was never told that piece from my mom until like a year ago when I was first starting to go through this. And I called Alex. I'm like, bro, you're never gonna believe this. He's like, what? What's going on? I'm like, apparently, I'm like, and I know it's because it's literally through marriage. But I mean, now at this point, it's been like half his life. Like he's grown up with like Emma is like, one of his
yeah,
cousins and stuff.
yeah,
And so I'm like, dude, you're never gonna believe this. And he's like, what? I'm like, bro, Star 80 was literally playing when I was like born. When they like used this thing to like pull me out of my mom because I was like 11 pounds, 12 ounces, down to the point where she said like the machine like made this indentation on my forehead that was like a bloody cross. I'm like, this is stupid stuff to listen to this and receive this and be putting these pieces of info together. And then I start connecting all these puzzle pieces, and it never stopped for like, I mean, I'm talking it's still going on. I mean, all day today, like as I'm walking around, then to realize what I was supposed to really be connected with you guys on, because truth be told, I was so impacted from reading the back of the book. And then literally what happened was I didn't know this guy was homeless walking out of IHOP. I had the book in my hand, literally the day that I found it. He walked up and he flipped it right open to chapter 9. And my number 6, because I have flipped everything in reverse about what I have received now. So now I see, instead of 606, I see 906. I walked
yeah.
out of the bank. I took a picture. When I finally opened up a bank account the other day, it said 906 UR on a license plate. I'm like, this is insane. So this guy walks up to me, opens the book to chapter 9. And I'm like, dude, this thing's awesome. Because I was telling him, this random person, I'm like, and I didn't know he was homeless. And I was like, dude, I'm like, I just got this book. I'm like, I cannot wait. I'm like, I know one of these authors, Steve from the other thing. And I'm like, Bruce, I've heard your name forever. And I'm like, I'm gonna reach out to these guys because that's how I got connected to Lenny Daniels too. I signed up for LinkedIn because I'm like, I got a 20-year profile on there,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
it's the real thing. So I'm like, oh, this is great. And so this dude opens it to chapter 9, and I read the bit about the apocalypse is coming. And one of the downloads that I received, one, I'm from the horse capital of the world, Ocala, Florida. Horse, 4 horsemen.
the Four
Rick
Horsemen. Yeah,
Rick Flair, Roddy Piper, they live. It's all connected, right? And then I got two things. Power from Wu Tang, who I said I met randomly in a parking lot. not connected to RZA or the movie or Cutthroat or anything. He and I have seen two movies together in the theater. We saw The Creator and we saw Civil War together. Right. Well, The Creator stars John David Washington, who starred in RZA's previous movie before Cutthroat City. And now, literally, Alex Garland directed Civil War. Guys, one of the leads of that movie, right? In that film, the character that's played by, I think it's Pedro Pascal, or who I believe in that, one of the actors, I'll send it to you. He's literally from my hometown. Like in the film, he says he's from basically like Gainesville, Ocala, Florida, where I'm literally from. And they're preventing the Civil War in that thing. And Alex Garland, who directed that film, Taylor John Smith, one of my partners, who recorded a video for me about the big picture that I'll send you when we get off this. He's the lead of his next movie. So all this crazy shit's connected. So I was getting visions that literally, if something wasn't done about DC, that there was gonna, and I'm talking about like going against what I grew up in, which was like democratic households and the left and all this stuff, right? Just because and also as kids, children should not be Democrats or Republicans. I want to say that too. That was crazy. Growing up Clinton in my hometown, all this shit. Anyways, and I'm trying to, and I don't want to be political. That's not what I'm saying about anything. But so like I was getting these downloads out of nowhere that if I didn't somehow connect myself, this is insane, to literally helping RFK, that there was going to be a fucking apocalypse. I'm not kidding. And so I'm receiving these downloads. I had no political connections of that manner to do that. And lo and behold, I could put you on the phone with both of the guys that were the now CEOs of the PACs behind him, right? Like where I got led and how all this happened was insane. And so I took the downloads that I was receiving. I would get these visions, these flat. You guys know, you told me about it. You got together with the book. Nobody, until they go through that in their life and experience what that is, can conceptually understand what that is, much less communicate it in a manner to where if I talk about this to an average everyday human being, they're going to think I'm absolutely insane. But this is real stuff. And this is how creation goes. And you see, because I'm like, man, dude, I want to be able to write one day and so on and so forth. I mean, now I basically wrote a 98-page manifesto of a decentralized, I don't mean that in a crazy manifesto way, of how to literally launch forward with an ecosystem of individuals a free from corporate funded Hollywood ecosystem and infrastructure for a new modern entertainment industry connected to real estate and legacy. And it's done. So we did that. And I'm very honored and humbled, literally beyond measure, with the brains that both of you are and the work that you've done in your collective lives to be in this situation and together to work forward to make sure that there is a world to protect. So thank you, truly.
Yeah, I really appreciate that that alternative right now, because that's really what is needed. In the piece I'm working on right now, there's the culture of separation, the culture of connection. And the culture of separation is that system that uses you, that grinds you up, that that entices you, that is, instead of the virtues, they're the anti-virtues. They're selling the anti-virtues. They're selling all of these things. And so the alternative is where basically we're connected without that top-down, sucking, predatory,
Outside of the box,
yeah.
the fly that goes outside of the box. You know what I'm saying with that?
Well, I can't wait to see this. I'm going to send you a link to the Symbiotic Age book,
Please.
which Richard's been releasing that a piece of a chapter at a time. We're almost done. It's taking longer than it took Bruce and I to write Spontaneous Evolution. That was like 3 years.
Wow.
But Richard's a genius, and he's onto something. He really is onto something, and
Amazing.
it's beyond the two political parties. It's way beyond that.
Way beyond.
Everybody is captured by one narrative or the other. They're either enamored of Trump, or they hate him, or they believe the progressive bullshit, or they believe this other bullshit.
And that's the thing too that I've come to understand, right? With people that are connected to this, the minute you shake someone's hand, because what do? We send people to prison for life based on their fingerprints, right?
Yeah,
So when you touch someone's hand, it's an exchange of literally fingerprints and DNA to where we're all connected forever the minute that you meet someone, not so much over videos, but also in the manner if you're led to those people.
yeah,
But so what I've come to understand on the levels designs of this to the symbiotic relationship of the ebb and flows and the patterns of different people, different times, different places, living the exact same fabrics of time and almost design down to look at the kicker for the Baltimore Ravens, Justin Tucker, going through the exact same simulation that Deshaun Watson went through. And I'm not saying that they didn't do these things, that these things don't happen, but I'm saying I've come to understand how the matrix and the world and God literally puts people in positions to literally write some further purpose of something that's supposed to happen or be saved from happening. And I don't understand from a science. I have no knowledge in this space, man. I'm a kid that went to film school, right? But I've come to understand so much of this. So to be on the inside structure of trying to communicate to the world and to everyday human beings, right? To conceptually wake up from what's around them, to even if this just helps make one life consciously aware in the manner of what it is, we're all doing our job, right? And so, I mean, this is a thing, and I'm just, oh man, anything I could do and anything that you guys, once you see what I've put forward, want to connect, add in, discuss, talk about. I cannot wait for you to meet with Drew, Bill Boy Jr., this whole event. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we're all producing what this is together forward. Our partners have won Emmys, Grammys, Oscars, and Tonys. I'll send you the roster. It's got hyperlinks. You can click on people, see who everybody is. Um, I'm so thankful that this is the next phase of what this is. Getting to meet both of you have let me know. You know how it is. Every meeting leads to the connective points where you can go, huh, that's where I'm at. I've been through so much and I wouldn't change a single thing. Um, and I'm fully evolved in the manner of consciously being able to tell stories now. And we all get to make literally the They Live franchise together. And there's a game in that world like what Pokemon Go was,
yeah.
but connected to They Live and what I want to do utilizing the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, which translate languages, to where we're going to hide a very large amount of money somewhere in the world. And we're going to make people connect and consciously speak to each other to try to go and find it, utilizing that IP and universe and the relationships in this with all of us. So it's a modern United Artists and then some,
Yeah,
tending
you
to it
know,
all
that's an
together.
interesting, that is an interesting story. The origin of United Artists. It
Literally.
goes back to Charlie Chaplin and Mary Pickford, and
Yeah.
it,
And
and
it's
this as
all,
yeah,
I've spoken at the Mary Pickford building for my friend
yeah,
Barry Bogovich, the Chaplin
yeah,
murals on the street where we're doing all
yeah.
this. There's a Charlie Chaplin mural on our building, our unscripted offices over by Ospi Pizzeria in Venice Beach where I lived. This is all amazing. And I can't even like I'll praise until the end of time. And I'm here. I literally, I got my dream was literally to do exactly what's about to now happen. And the prayer was a platform that was literally Tebow and Tyler combined. And um, I'm I'm very looking forward to being able to just impact the world through art because that's what those. I didn't know for years I was an artist because I got labeled a film producer, and I was a lot more than just that. So thank you both tremendously, and let me do some email introductions
Yeah,
if
do
that's
that.
okay.
And by the way, I'm in Santa Barbara, not
I
too
know.
far away. So
I can't
maybe at
wait.
some point while we're
Uh,
down here, we can
please.
yeah. We were
Dan-
led to go down here. It's a funny story. Uh, a woman, an actress who I met many, many years ago. I haven't seen her in 25 years. I saw her on a TV program. I go, yeah, I met her 25 years ago. And then 3 days later, my phone rings and I see her name on my phone calling me. So that was kind of like okay, we're doing the right thing moving down here.
Yep.
So this is just one
Amazing.
more, another, another.
That's why I said, William, your path was no accident.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm aware and I'm fully that all I was ever looking for, man, was peace. Like literally, and I mean, I didn't mean that to become a literal thing. And now it is. Everything that was a figurative statement has become a literal statement almost now in life. And it's, I know where my life is heading. I never asked for any of this, and I'm forever grateful. But I also know the trajectory of the work and the impact now that gets to be done through this. And it should have made sense from just the things that are in front of me and the people. I mean, David, who's been like, see, I have no relationship with my biological father. I haven't seen him since I was 12. I was raised by my mom, my grandmother, and I've been led to so many amazing men that are fathers and have shaped literally worlds. And Life of Pi, man. I mean, that's my, one of the guys that helped raise me in this business, David Womark. And so man, I'm so thankful. This is going to be amazing. And I can't wait to tell stories with you guys and impact the world. I mean, literally as writers, like, ooh, and the science element of what I want to do with this disaster film. See, I want They Die to be about the science behind everything. And if we don't protect it, the aliens are going to come and make sure that they literally hit the erase button. And that's the story I want to tell with Russell Portnoy's kid, Matt Portnoy, in a writer's room, basically led by him and the both of you, because you two are the men of science that have written something that man, I can't wait to finally be able to sit and be present on a flight somewhere and just get to read actually some of this book. Because I was flipping through earlier today when I was walking, I got to one of the graphs, and I'll send you what I'm specifically talking about. But when I read the breakdown of basically, right, like what we're told, what it is holistically, that chart, I was like, oh my God, like this is it. And so it really is just as simple as all this, guys. What we understand, and like the fact that nobody goes, people are too focused on individual self, and they're focused on trying to find the meaning of God that very few people understand, that most of which are speaking about. So that's my viewpoint, and that it's not about a Bible thumping religion situation. And it even goes way outside the grasp of spirituality to a certain standpoint. It's literally science, man. This is all, the earth is one big freaking supercomputer. And where do we think we create supercomputers from? And it's literally all downloads given to individual pieces to connect it all together. And that's how these how did this multi-billion dollar company happen? Like this way, but at a specific design and time. But then the thing is, some of those people that get given those situations where they could push the red button to protect it all, they don't, due to greed and other things. So this is where my brain's gotten to, and how I've come to understand so many different things. And I I just want to tell stories that literally can impact the world and shape what will be hopefully a sustainable future for 100 years after we're not here, and people get to talk about the legacy of all of this and wherever the ending of this is going, in the same way I've heard people speak about Piney Woods and that gift that was that school. Um,
Can't wait. I can't wait to hear more about that because my first career was teaching.
there's a documentary you can watch it tonight. It's on Hulu called Sacred Soil. It's on the
Sacred,
school.
sacred soil. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll check that out. Thank
And
you.
that's amazing. Of course, you were an educator, Steve. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Started an alternative high school in Washington, D.C., of all places, in the middle
wow,
of all of that stuff that was happening. And one of the people who sent his girl to our school was a cabinet member.
wow,
And, and he would get calls from Lyndon Johnson saying, "Take your girl out of that goddamn school."
wow.
But he wouldn't do it. So, I mean, this is all everybody's history. We're all kind of intertwined here. Kurt Vonnegut called it a cuirass, right? These people that are somehow connected through some inexplicable way, karmically, over a period of time. And this may be, bringing to fruition the next, legacy, handing, your 40 years younger or 35 years younger than we are, um, you're this is the handoff here,
It's
right?
it's the same thing with, Larry, I believe 75. David's pushing 70. It's like I was saying, I've been,
Yeah.
my architect, Edward Hernandez, who's doing everything in La Paz. And then there's Whitney Sander and Glenn Williams, right? Glenn was building stuff on Captain Ron, man, that Larry's brother-in-law Kurt was in. It's all intertwined, and that's what I mean. It's my DNA, right? And like I said, I was literally, I guess, born into the business. I didn't even understand that was happening for whatever path and purpose this is, and then shaped like by my mom, who's literally one of the most kind women on planet Earth, who apparently her life too, right? Everything, the peaks and valleys. This is what I'm saying, guys. The two of you and what's going to get written on what this is. It's like you said, we are the legacy keepers. So that's the work. Listen, when you write about science and the earth and the connectivity and creation enough, you literally get put in control of being the gatekeepers of that. And we've all manifested kind of our conscious lives collectively together forward by how all this connects together on a symbiotic, I think, ebb and flow as it relates to just the whole business of industry and what this is, So, I mean, what's the stuff that's protected more than anything until the end of time? Art. We've got pieces from artists that nobody heard of when they were alive, right? But now in death, they're, God's gifts to literally creation. And so that's what a lot of this is. And now people are going to get acknowledged in life instead of death after the fact with a
That's a
lot
good
of,
time.
what's coming. And that's a big deal. And so,
Yeah, as a comedian, I don't want to be remembered posthumously. I want to
heck
have it
yeah.
happen now.
Heck yeah, Steve. You got a global stage, man, to do it on,
We're on
Earth
our Love and
Day.
Laughter tour. We're just launching that this year.
That's amazing, man.
Getting back on the
So,
road, and
wow.
because people need it. We did a show yesterday in Little Ojai here, and I was totally blown away by how people are suffering because of this political bullshit.
It's
They are
insane.
fucking suffering.
Insane.
And to relieve them, by, we have a deeply divided body politic. Half the people believe the system is broken. The other half believe it's fixed. And then everybody laughs at that. Everybody laughs at that. They know it's true. They know it's true. So, oh, and by the way, speaking of your hometown, when Trudy and I first got our van and trailer and left Michigan for our first tour ever, our first stop was Gainesville.
No way. There it is, where I was
Gainesville. Our
born.
first gain was in Gainesville. Yeah,
Wow,
our first, one of the first supporters of the Swami lived there, and he was the
man. That's wild.
singing dentist of Gainesville.
That's wild. And you said Michigan. Where in Michigan were you?
Well, I was in Ann Arbor.
There it is, man. It's
Yeah,
all
Ann
it's all
Arbor.
so I mean,
The hash bash.
I'm directing the biopic on Detroit Tigers pitcher Mark Fiderick, the
Oh
bird,
my God, the bird. Oh my goodness.
which
Wow.
which we're all basically making because I want to tell a whole doc on the bird too that hasn't been done. And so
Yeah,
I've
that's a
got,
sad story in a certain regard. He was,
but it's also a man who transcended something that he wasn't prepared for and then handled it. It's my whole
yeah.
life. The final score of that game, listen, I was born May 6th. He beat the Yankees 5-0 on 6 hits. The box score was 5-6, right?
And that was the year that they won everything.
May 15th.
1984.
Well, no, it
1984,
was
they won it.
70. Well, but he wasn't
Oh,
part of that.
no, he was
76.
76. Right.
But he was on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, right? Chet's
Wow.
Diner still lives. And so Paul, who wrote Cutthroat City, he's
Yeah.
from Detroit. Jerry Easter's wife, Trina Easter, the mother of little Jerry, she's from Detroit. And then literally Mike Callio, the first crew member I ever met on a film set, who literally the movie he made is why Paul, who wrote Cutthroat City, moved out to LA. He's from Detroit. Drew, who I put you guys in an email with, he's from Detroit.
That's where
And
my wife
then
is from. Yeah.
there it is. So there's these crazy connections with Chicago, Illinois, Detroit, Michigan, and literally Ocala, Florida. And it's
That's our
one.
regular Blues Brothers.
Yep. And so I'm just, this is going to be so much fun. And so we have a whole publishing division You know, I've got books. I mean, we've got stuff that Banksy is behind that we're putting out. And I've created an entire docu-series on all of this. My partner, David Leapson, he's a six-time Emmy winner in unscripted, you know, Inside Sports with Brian Gumble, and
Hmm.
he's done all of that. And so his wife, now Maria Delfino, starred in the second movie I ever produced. David's on the box cover for that film. I moved down here to Venice and his office is on the street. That's the one with the Chaplin mural on it. Okay, when he showed up and said yes to this, there were things with people agreeing to be in this with me, like agreeing to be in it, and then everybody would get sick. It was like we were transitioning through from a science standpoint to like some new timeline that's been created, and like everybody was a piece that could actually like be replaced at some point based on what they did and how it all circled and connect. Crazy. I don't mean to segue into this stuff. This is stuff I've lived and experienced, and I've been watching with my own eyes and trying to decipher and connect together. It's been crazy, and it's all synchronized together. So yeah, we've got a whole international film division. I've been given interpreters for every part of the world. So the Ukraine, Russia. I'm connected to Zelensky and Trump. I met the guy that produced the doc that Sean Penn directed, right? President Zelensky. And then the the way that I would randomly meet individuals like Japan. I know you mentioned Japan a minute ago, Bruce. My boy Rocco Nugent texted me today. He's on a flight back to Japan right now, where he got basically engaged when he was there this summer. Rocco, Ted's son, has been one of my main guides in this, especially after the DMT side. And Rocco's been doing a lot of work within his family circle. And I mean, this is what I mean from a standpoint of some of the greatest artists ever. Let's be honest, regardless of Ted's political views, he's one of the greatest musicians of all time from a standpoint of who he is as a rock and roll guitarist. So like this is what I'm talking about, man. And then the Chicago of it all, D. Ray Davis starred in my movie that I did before Cutthroat City. The night of our premiere for Grow House was when I met RZA for the first time in person. I've come to understand the science of the handoffs between connective relationships of my life journey. All those boxes have been unlocked in my mind. I can set down and we could roadmap on a board, literally all of this. It's nuts. And so I just, as I was living this and trying to explain this to my mom, God love her, and other people as I'm living it and I'm going through it. And they're like, well, why are you pivoting from so many people in business when you're building this? And I'm like, I'm not making these decisions. Why is somebody shooting a gun at you? I would love to know that. Ask God. Well, that's silly, William. Oh, is it? Because last time I checked, I'm not in control of somebody firing a gun at my head. You
So
know,
true.
it's
That's so true.
like, I'm like, I'm not doing anything crazy. Jim Still, God love Jim, man, ran Artisan Entertainment. He's the sole producer of the movie The Arrival, starring Charlie Sheen. Don't even get me started on the IP I've got. The creators of Entourage, we're releasing their new show. I hope. I've been in conversations for months with Dave Perkle, who's Doug Ellen's best friend. And I mean, it's all connected to Mark. I say I can't help but dive down the rabbit holes, right? When I'm just talking, because it's become so normal in everyday
I mean,
life.
you must have like 500 different threads going, and that fact that you actually have a capacity, the capacity to actually know where all these threads fit.
It's crazy. And I don't have
It
to
is
look any of
crazy.
this up. We can just have a
Yeah.
conversation and I can calmly doc and you be like, okay, Will, tell me about, give me everything on this person. It's connected to this, that, and this. You know, as I always had a dream to do a documentary on the University of Florida football program. I was a diehard Gator fan growing
Yeah.
up. That's what I meant about the connection, right, with my friend Phil Powell. I didn't meet him till I made the movie Under the Bed, where I met Johnny Weston, who literally, you know, it's all connected together. But Phil introduced me to one of Tim's best friends from college, Justin Giagrande, who was pursuing signing DJ Lagway and helping the Lagway family. And so I started filming a doc on Lagway when he was a senior in high school. Now he's a starting quarterback at the University of Florida, where I am making a long-term documentary for his whole career there. So that dream came true last summer. I came up with the title of that. I called it Chosen to Lead before I went and led all of this, because he wore the number 2 just like Jerry
Goes
Easter the
into
second.
yeah.
Right. And I mean, guys, this is on a scope and scale. I mean, I'm gonna be walking proof to faith and belief and literal like dream. I mean, what this is I didn't ask for this. All of us are. It's like this is the responsibility of this too, right? It's like the shaping of Superman. Don't get me started on how I'm connected to all that, from literally Dean Cain to Tim Daly and Sam to when I met my mom's like dream, right? Jerry, who she's about to marry now for the first time 50 years later. Her wedding's on March 29th, literally also the day of, her birthday, which is the end of this upcoming month. And so when I walked in and met him for the first time, like Superman was playing on the TV. There's all this crazy stuff with Superman, the related aspects of it being connected to this. It's all just beautiful. And it's a story of entertainment, Hollywood, sports, but also politics, but belief, and connecting all that together on a uniting basis, not a dividing basis.
Yep.
And that's what all this is, man. If we don't stop with this Democratic, Republican, left, right, red, blue bullshit, and actually just come to a basis to understand, it's like you wrote, man, we are the tenders to this garden that is called Earth. And if you keep going against the axis of that, it's gonna fall off its foundational surface. And that's where we're headed, but not if I have anything to do about it. And
Well, of course,
those
as
used to be
Swami says,
words.
we
Sorry,
need to
Swanee.
bring we need to bring left and right, front and center to face the music and dance together to turn the funk into function and leave the junk at the junction.
There it is, baby. And that's what and that's dysfunction. I believe if I'm right, chapter 9 is literally the
Yeah, the
dysfunction
dysfunction.
and the
Yeah, that's right.
function.
Dysfunction at the junction. Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean,
so I
that's
want you
true.
to, you guys, we've got to produce a 24-hour streaming telethon, and your gorgeous brains and others are going to help lead that forward. And these individuals that are all going to be part of this get the foundational axis back front and center is basically what all this is. I understand it. I really
It's
do.
interesting. My podcast is called Front and Center
Wow, I did not know that. And I was
with
going to
Michael
ask,
Mixenti. With Michael Mixenti, our slogan is from political battlefields to cooperative playing fields.
wow, that's amazing. I've got Pillar Marketing, who's behind Tommy Chong and Mike Tyson's podcast.
Uh-huh.
We're doing a big picture world group podcast about rising together, and it's the whole ecosystem. So I want to connect you, Steve, with the guys at Pillar who are behind us. I met him a year ago, so they're wired in because I've got, it's like King Batch is a dear friend of mine. He introduced me to my partner who built the streaming platform. Batch has 25 million followers. Like, I'm the connective piece to literally the billions in platform eyeballs behind like what we have literally been blessed with. So I got these downloads to build a platform that was Instagram meets Netflix meets Spotify, that also brings back radio, which has been dead forever, and in the manner that
My
it
slogan
was.
is dress for radio. I'm
There,
dressed for radio.
there it is, man. And then I also wanted to bring back like public access TV and a place to create that. And so that's what Connect to Your City. You can go to right now, connecttoyourcity.com. And it's available on Roku and Apple and everything else. And it's 200 plus live streaming.
ConnectToYourCity.com. There's so much that we need to
Connecttoyourcity.com.
talk about because the work that I'm doing with Richard Flyer has to do with something called parallel polis. And this was something that in Czechoslovakia, you've heard of Václav Havel, right?
Mhm.
So in the 1970s, during the Soviet repression, instead of fighting the power, instead of fighting the system, they created something called uh, parallel polis. And they went and they created a counterculture. They created an alternative. They created a parallel system where they began to educate their own people. They began to feed their own people. People could begin to worship. They could begin to tell the truth. And that really helped bring down that entire regime. And then what Václav Havel created, that became the new government once they and it was everybody. It was not left or right. It was basically everybody knew that they were being oppressed and lied to.
Wow.
Whereas in our country, it's kind of like people don't know it. It's like a soft cloth totalitarianism.
Well, and that's why we're gonna use the They Live IP to tell them all.
Yeah.
Because it's the perfect intro. And literally,
Yeah.
it's also the foundation of what you're going to read. I came up with this download to do studio co-slate financing to show up and get 500 million to Warner Brothers, 500 million to Sony, 500 million Universal, 1.5 total to create an ecosystem that basically gets rid of the monopoly on corporate Hollywood and allows the artists again to build a new film community connected more to an audience and the consumers than what basically corporate dollars because of a board that aren't artists or creators. Somebody who's not a creator who literally grew up in Wisconsin and got a business degree and then becomes an executive who's deciding what movies are getting to know. And that's literally how this is happening. And so that's what I wanted to do. And if you remember, please go back if you haven't seen it and rewatch They Live. Because
Yeah. Okay. We'll do. Yeah, that's
it
right.
is
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
about obey,
Watch
consume,
They
control.
Live.
It was post Reagan. I mean, it was literally,
Yeah.
it was the last movie that John and Larry made together with Larry as John's producer. After that, Larry went on to have one of the biggest producing careers of all time and has done everything from 2012 to most recently. He just finished Happy Gilmore too, actually, but he's done October Sky, all Nolan's Batman, Burton's Batman's, right? Solely produced Mars Attacks with Tim Burton. So like that's my mentor. And he helped me get this school because he believed in me. That was like my final level as a line producer. He hired me to do a movie called Discarnate that was being directed by fashion photographer icon Mario Sorrenti. And they were all prepping the Independence Day reboot. And I did that. And then after that, I went and did a movie that, see, I thought it was a train wreck of a film, but it was God just molding me and shaping me and connecting me for stuff ultimately that I would need during this period to understand it of everything that was happening around me now. And so, yeah, man, Larry's a legend. And it's sorry, some here when I'm really going, I lose the train of thought at certain points. But this is why I'm doing a docu series now on my whole life and all this. So there'll be footage so we can reference about what we were talking about. But
Cool.
I
Okay. Well,
just
this is great.
I need
This
your
is.
help, Steve,
Yeah.
on what we're gonna do, and Bruce, with what
Yeah.
this streaming launch is. Let me do email intros, and I'll
Yeah. Let's.
send you this download. Once you guys read it, let me know, and then I can introduce you after you've gone through the document to people that you need to meet, from David Womark to Drew, who you're already on an email with, Will Crossley, who's running Piney Woods School. Watch the Sacred Soil documentary, and then anything you want me to connect or look at, please share that. I'm an open line 24/7, and I eat, sleep, and literally live this, and I've bled for it now too. So um, I know what the next steps are, and my intent is to finish this deck overview, which goes with the 98 pages I'm sending you, and then I'm off to New York to sit down and get this whole thing planned from a cash flow standpoint, I hope. And in the interim, I will most likely introduce both of you to CJ O'Connor at Malka, who saw that first Paramount overview that you're going to receive and get to read. And he's like, yo, he's like, we've got money and basically an open runway. And that's how basically Project Rise Partners got formed and started. And we got a response from the Paramount board. So that was quite the conclusion of that story.
So what
And
happened? I didn't get the rest of the story. You got a
I
response from them.
what happened is literally people thinking that they can control the garden and not tend to it, because
Yeah.
I led forward an ownership group to continue and basically save what is the Paramount legacy. And we made an offer with more money, better payout
Thirteen
for
and a
all the
half billion
investors,
dollars. I think
13 and a
something
half billion
like that.
dollars cash
Yeah.
that Moses and Daphne are the co-chairs of
Yeah.
Project Rise behind. I'm one of the limited people from the film industry in it. It was not a bunch of people from the entertainment industry. It's basically me, um, honestly. And that being said, you know, they they've got a deal in place with Skydance, and
Yeah,
Charles Phillips, who was the head of the committee, who was given the offers to the board to review. That's Larry Ellison's best friend. He was the president of Oracle for 6 years, and that's a little
right.
fishy. And so I've stayed out of it all. You know, I could have been the one, I led this money. Like, what do you mean? Like, with Paramount Stars? I've known, dude, that it's never been about Paramount. And ultimately, if it is, well, that'll circle back to us if all of this stuff ends up
Yeah.
happening that I think is going to be led forward. So, look,
This
man,
preserves your independence, and yeah, it's one of those things you had to do it. It was testing the waters. It was, I mean, I read about it as a formidable offer. Anybody that puts together $13.5 billion, you know,
crazy.
yeah,
And it's, you know, it's the legacy, right? It's like you said, Bruce, these things are shaping, you know, what I'm walking in, right, that are going to be the story of what this is told moving forward. That's the start of one heck of a legacy that I've gone and found myself now walking in and being part of a group and leading forward. Because, you know, it's one thing to go off and raise money to make a movie, 5, 6, $7 million, which I've done over the course time and time again for 20 years. It's a whole nother thing to receive a download and be like, I'm supposed to drive cross country and find billions of dollars to make sure that they don't get to buy Paramount. I mean, there's a situation with the rental car that I'll let my mom tell you her perspective of the story of. I mean, that alone just shows I was going in path and purpose the whole time in this, and I haven't stopped. And I've got those texts from my uncle, and God love his misguided soul at points. He means well, but I never stopped. I knew what this was. And then when I started reflecting on, because I've made so many movies and there's snapshots of time in my life, I think you guys can relate from periods of when you've
Yeah.
written books, right?
yeah,
I started looking at the design of when I put these movies together in everyday life, but being in pre-production on a movie as it relates to timelines with this. And then I was like, whoa, New York, the mirrored reflection of that, closing circles, right? Like I got robbed at gunpoint in my hometown when I was 16, returning the hot chick produced by John Schneider, right? Who's been my manager for 12 years. The person that we met with the wife of who fired the gun at me, that meeting was with John Schneider. So robbed at gunpoint, returning the hot chick, produced by John, then meet with him before the bullet happened. It's crazy stuff. So circles closing out like that I've been able to decipher the programming of what life is considered. That people that have normal everyday jobs, the reason why so many people consciously sleep, what we do for a living, man, is incredible. We get to play make
yeah.
believe, and
You
because
know,
it's make believe.
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
As Bruce will tell you, there was a time where our book got nuked and almost didn't happen. Somebody that was a somebody that was a that we trusted read the book and said, "You should not do this book. Terrible idea." And I we were staying at Bruce's and went to bed. Woke up the next morning. It was kind of like, you know, looking at the nuclear rubble there and the smoke and all of that. And it's like, well, we're done. And we got up, had our coffee and something else. And Bruce said, let's do it. And it was another year and we did it. Thank God we did it. Thank
Thank
God.
God you
So
guys did.
we understand what that is. You know, when somebody gave you, you know, our very good friend the other day, we went out to dinner and he's a cardiologist doctor. He says, well, you know, you two guys going on the road in your 70s, you know, getting in a van trailer, you know, you should know that, you know, there are certain risks. And I went, well, now is the time because it's too late to do it sooner. So he really helped us. He really helped us.
I
He's been a
love
great
that.
benefactor.
Oh
So I
my.
think that's our slogan. Now is the time because it's too late to do it sooner.
And I like to say, those who say it cannot be done are usually interrupted by others doing it. That was a mural right
Exactly.
by my house on the street I
Yeah.
live in Venice.
Yeah.
So,
So that's
God,
really okay. Well,
man.
when you get back from New York, well, actually, we're going to hear from you very
We'll
soon.
we'll be talking before
Yeah.
that's like into the first week of March. But no, I'm gonna send you guys these pages. It's about 90 pages worth of stuff. Look through it and then just circle back around with me and we could talk about anything. And it's gonna make sense to both of your brains. And then there's hyperlinks and there's gonna be a visual component to go with this, that
That you're
marketing
working on
and
now.
And Drew, who you're on email with, is working on now. Yes.
Okay, dokie, Smokey.
Now, William, I really appreciate you getting in contact with us, giving us your story of unfolding your life in a direction without any knowledge until you're there.
Thank you for receiving it, Bruce. To get to data dump per se what I've been through on both of you, and for you two to be able to understand this, obviously with who you are too and the work you've done, it is an absolute godsend that this is what God designed. Because, dude, I mean, I lived the movie they live in real life. I mean, I really did. You'll understand what I mean. It's crazy, Bruce. I'm humbled. Thank you. I'm honored.
I look forward to
Yeah.
your stuff and
Me
enjoy
too.
your trip, but we'll be in touch with you.
Thank you.
Every
God
day.
bless you
Okay.
guys.
And you
Forever
know,
grateful.
you picked two guys who could receive this, by the way. I
Dude.
mean, that was quite the download, man. There was no, I'm looking at the, I know when I read this text, there's going to be no space between words.
And
It landed completely.
and thank you. And that's the
Got
thing
it.
that when I saw the rainbow behind you, the light, I'm like, that's what I meant by the oracles, because this is authentic, man. This is who I am. I can't help this, right? And
Yeah.
so a lot of people get in there like, whoa. And I can't imagine being on the other side of me. But then I've kind of had some mirrored versions, right? My friend Bruce, there's a friend of mine, Bruce Chang, right? Who's a handyman who helps, he fixes machines. And he was the final level of this. There was a pass off from Sid with the self-love to him. Bruce unlocked basically what was in here. And this man, he's in the video with me on X. He was behind the Mormon church, did some bad stuff. And he came up with the ideas for Postmates, Uber, Stance, Skull Candy, and Lime scooters. He was the brains behind it. And that's a whole story in and of itself. And you see, I met him the day before I drove cross country to raise the money. And when he shared those things with me, I was like, wow, God's connected me to someone with what I was walking into, where I felt my ideas were on the level of these one word name companies, right? But I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And because he shared that story with me, I'm like, man, I got to finish it, because I don't want to be in a situation where I see the emotion on him from what he had been through. And if I don't do that, and that was when I really committed to it. And that whole rental car thing happened that my mom's gonna tell a story forever about. But and I'm real, man. And I'm a kid from a small town who had huge hopes and dreams. And now I get to be living proof that those things could actually happen. And I get to do it with a bunch of amazing human beings that are literally the bosses at what they do and the spaces that they're in. And so this is a forever honor, Steve, Bruce. So thank you.
Okay. Good. Well, as
Okay,
Swami would
thank you
say,
so much. Have a good trip, and we'll be talking to you very soon. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, William.
okay.
What were you gonna say, Steve? I didn't know if there was gonna.
Swami would say namaste and namasko.
God bless you.
God
Thank you
bless
for the
you too,
time.
friend. Okay.
Forever.
See
Thank
you
you.
soon, bro.
Bye.
Bye.